Refugees are welcome here, no hate, no fear. 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 Refugees are welcome here, no hate. Ho ho! Donald Trump has got to go! Hey hey! Ho ho! Donald Trump has got to go! Hey hey! Ho ho! Donald Trump has got to go! Hey hey! Ho ho! Donald Trump has got to go! Hey hey! Ho ho! Donald Trump has got to go! Hey hey! Ho ho! Donald Trump has got to go! Hey hey! Ho ho! Donald Trump has got to go! Hey hey! Ho ho! No fear! Refugees are welcome! No hate! No fear! Refugees are welcome here! 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 No hate!
All of us here are from around the world. We've come during different times. We've come during different periods, but we've all come to make America what it is today, to make America great. And immigrants are what make America great. When the administration of any administration or any government wishes to go against the values of this nation, the values that our country is founded on, then it's up to people like you and I. It's up to people like all of us here who represent every faith in the world, who are from every part of the world, to rise up and stand and resist. Today we have an amazing lineup of speakers. I would like to introduce our first speaker. His name is Rabbi Bennett. Please help me in welcoming Rabbi Bennett.
Love the Torah, love the stranger, love the Christian, love the Jew, love the Muslim. We are here today to love one another. Love the stranger, the Torah teaches. Do not oppress the stranger. Do not subvert the rights of the stranger. Welcome the stranger, for you were once strangers in the land of Egypt. Love your neighbor as yourself. 36 times my Torah, our scripture teaches to treat your fellow human being with kindness, to treat those who were not born in your land, to treat them as yourself, to treat them as your brothers and sisters. We are here today to stand with one another, to stand with our Muslim brothers and sisters, to stand with our Jewish brothers and sisters, our Christian brothers and sisters, our American brothers and sisters, and to stand together as human beings with people across this globe and across this nation to say, this will not stand. As people of faith, as people of justice, as people of goodness, of love, as people, as residents and strangers and visitors, as those who come together here, we stand here in justice, we stand here in peace, and we stand here in love. We know well that it is better to build bridges than walls. We know well that it is better to draw close than to push away. And we know that it is better to love than to hate. It is better to care for one another than to ignore one another and to hate one another. We are all immigrants, all of us. We are all refugees. We are all seekers of freedom and of peace. And so we come here together this day to stand together with our brothers and sisters, to put our arms around one another, to stand proudly to say that we love mercy and we love justice and we love to walk humbly with God, but today we will march proudly for justice and for peace.
Thank you, Rabbi Bennett. Our next speaker is Barbara Gordon. She's the Reverend Barbara Gordon, and she's the lead minister of Eliot Unitarian Chapel. Barbara?
I am Barbara Gadon, and I'm delighted to stand among you and stand up for justice.
Yeah.
My faith, the Unitarian Universalist faith, teaches that we must affirm and promote the inherent worth and dignity of every person. Every person. I think today we need to do more than affirm and promote the inherent worth and dignity. We need to demand the inherent worth. Every person. In this country, we are being forced to ask a question. We are being forced to ask a ridiculous and I think shameful question. And the question is, are Muslims, can Muslims be Americans? And it is a shameful question because we shouldn't have to ask it. This question was answered more than 200 years ago. The question was answered more than 200 years ago in the Constitution of the United States. When our first president George Washington was inaugurated, he received letters of congratulation from all over. One of those letters was from a man named Moses Sextus. Moses Sextus was from a synagogue in Newport, Rhode Island. And he wrote to the president and said, in effect, can Jews be American citizens? This was a real question. Wow, we've got another group that's affirming this. All right.
This is what democracy looks like.
So Washington wrote Moses Sextus, he wrote him back the very next day, and he said, the United States shall give to bigotry no sanction, and the United States shall give to persecution no assistance. To bigotry, no sanction. To persecution, no assistance. We today have a president that is giving to bigotry all sanction and to persecution all assistance. And so we must stand up as people of faith and say no to that, and to say that every American president since Washington has had the directive to help Americans live up to that promise. We have had a tortured history in living up to that promise. We have not done well by all of our citizens. But every president's job is to help us do that a little bit better, and we are going in reverse, and we say no to that today. So I ask you to say with me, no hate, no ban, Muslims are American.
No hate, no ban. Muslims are American. No hate, no ban. Muslims are American. No hate, no ban. Muslims are American. No hate, no ban. Muslims are American. No hate, no ban. Muslims are American. No hate, no ban. Muslims are American. No hate, no ban. Muslims are American. No hate, no ban. Muslims are American. No hate, no ban. Muslims are American.
Our next speaker is Mustafa Abdullah of the ACLU. Mustafa?
I want to start off by greeting you with an Islamic greeting. Assalamu alaikum. May peace be unto you. My name is Mustafa Abdullah. I'm the son of an Egyptian father and an American mother. I am unapologetically Muslim, and I'm proud to say that I'm the lead organizer for the American Civil Liberties Union of Missouri. growing up, my father would be sitting in his lazy boy chair, reading passages in the Quran about justice, mercy, and compassion. And he would turn to me and he would say, Mustafa, the reason I love this country so much is it exemplifies the best values of justice, mercy, and compassion that run deep in our faith. However, as a Muslim and a person of color, I know that these values have, for the greater parts of our history, not applied to Native peoples, people of color, women, LGBTQ people, and many recent immigrants. Demanding protection of these rights requires us to be forever vigilant. The ACLU was founded nearly 100 years ago. President Wilson prosecuted many anti-war activists during World War I for distributing anti-war material. Those who opposed the war were deemed unpatriotic. Our founding attorneys stood up and said this is wrong and violates the First Amendment. Dissent is patriotic. We fought back. Nearly 100 years later, the ACLU stood up again when Trump effectively barred Muslims from 7 Muslim-majority nations from entering this country. Nearly 100 years later, the ACLU stands against this executive order because it violates the First and 14th Amendments. It violates the Constitution and is in opposition to our core American values. We demand that the government protect the rights of everyone who enters this country. And so the ACLU sued. And we are not done. 50 ACLU affiliates, including Missouri, are involved in a concerted effort to obtain documents under the Freedom of Information Act that would show how the Trump administration officials are interpreting the ban. The public has a right to know if federal immigration officials are blatantly defying nationwide federal court orders that block President Trump's unconstitutional Muslim ban. In my office, I have on my wall a statement from the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, that I read almost every day. It goes something like this. Hear the prayer of the oppressed, because there is no barrier between them and Allah. There is no barrier between the oppressed and God. This inspires me every day, every single day, to protect the Constitution and make our communities free and safe for all Missourians. In closing, in addition to coming out to beautiful rallies like this, you all look beautiful today. There are 3 things I want you to do. I want you to join a group like the ACLU, or like CAIR, or like MIRA, that's working to protect the rights of immigrants. Number 2, I want you to download the ACLU of Missouri Mobile Justice app on the Google Play Store or on the Apple Store and learn about your rights. Let us know if your rights have been violated. And I want you to go. And lastly, I want you to check out our website and sign up to volunteer, because we're going to need you in the fight. And our founder, Roger Baldwin, once said, so long as we have enough people in this country willing to fight for their rights, we'll be called a democracy. Keep on resisting! Dissent is patriotic! Peace be with you.
Next, I would like to invite Marie Ami from MIRA.
Refugee, a former survivor of the Rwandan genocide. Thank you for your support, and I ask you to visit MIRA's website, Missouri Immigrant Refugee Advocates, We're going to be in Jeff City on March 7th as we lobby for the rights of the immigrants and refugees in Missouri. Thank you for your support.
Next, I would like to invite a good friend of mine who I first interviewed with when I came to St. Louis, Charles Jaco. Charles?
Be loud, no problem. As a journalist, you're often told that you have to be neutral. I've got to tell you right now, there is no more time for neutrality. This country is in a crisis simply because of the orders, the illegal orders, the unconstitutional orders of this administration, which is avowedly white nationalist. There is no mistake to be made about that. They have said that repeatedly in what they have written and what they said during the campaign. If you want to know what a dictator is going to do, listen to him. He'll probably tell you. Now, we can be many things today. We can be angry. We can be outraged. We can be determined. We cannot be afraid. They are counting on our fear. We will not give it to them. Now, in my career as a journalist, I've covered a lot of beats, including national security. And the one thing I've got to tell you is now we are dealing with racism and xenophobia and Islamophobia and anti-Semitism. Yeah. I am afraid with this administration there may be worse around the corner. Remember when I said they have done everything they said they were going to do? At 5 points during the campaign, Donald Trump said that he did not see why the United States did not use nuclear weapons. One of Trump's biographers, David K. Johnston, wrote this week that he will bet that Donald Trump, within the next 3 months, is going to want to use nuclear weapons against so-called Islamic extremists. David K. Johnson said, the only question now is whether the generals can stop him. I would add, the only question would be whether we can stop him. In closing, I would like to say right now, this is about our immigrant and our Muslim brothers and sisters. Make no mistake, this is about even more. This is about the soul of this country, the survival of this republic, and whether or not the United States of America we have 1 year from now, 6 months from now, 6 weeks from now, is the country we grew up loving. That's right. Stay strong. Thank you.
Next, I would like to invite Dr. Bahar Bastani. Dr. Bahar Bastani from the Muslim community to speak. Dr. Bastani.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, in the name of God, the most kind and the most merciful. Salam, shalom, and peace be upon all of you. My brothers and sisters, please look to right side and left side and give a smile to each other for being together today in this cold weather. Today, we have gathered here in support of the immigrants, the refugees, those who are in dire need for our support. The world is shaped by those who choose to act, those who stand in the face of injustice and unfairness, and those who stand for the rights of the oppressed and the weak. We have a choice in front of us on how we act in this critical moment in our nation's history. Let us make this a massive national stand against the politics of division, bigotry and hatred, prejudices and racism. Mr. Trump has surrounded himself with like-minded racist bigots such as Stephen Bannon, who now serves as his senior counselor and chief strategist in the White House and a member of his national security. A man who for years served as the executive chairman of Breitbart News, a website for the alt-right that promotes racism, anti-Muslim, anti-Semitism, anti-immigrant, and anti-multiculturalism, and promotes white nationalism and white supremacy. In an executive order signed on January 27th, Mr. Trump has banned nationals of 7 major Muslim countries from entering U.S. for at least 90 days, and all refugees for 120 days, and refugees from Syria indefinitely. The executive order is discriminatory as it unfairly targets a large group of immigrants and refugees on the basis of countries of origin, which are nations with majority Muslim populations. This is a major step toward implementing a stringent religious and racial profiling that had been promised during his campaign. As citizens of this country who strive to preserve our democratic and humanistic values, and as people who strongly believe that our strength relies on our pluralistic multiculturalism and our cultural diversity, we strongly oppose these executive orders and any other discriminatory orders that are based on ethnic, religious, race, or sexual orientation profiling. Mr. Trump, we oppose your policies of hatred, bigotry, and divisiveness. We reject your fear-mongering and us against them policies. We reject your support of torture, your general encouragement of violence, your denigration of women, Muslims, Mexicans, and many others who disagree with you. Facing your fear-mongering policies, we choose compassion. Hearing your voices of despair, disaster, and darkness, we choose hope, blessing, and light. Seeing your arrogance, narcissism, and ignorance, we choose humanity, modesty, and understanding. As citizens of this land and the world, we stand against your bigotry and your brand of divisiveness. My brothers and sisters, let us, as he and his like-minded go down, we go up. And instead of him dividing us, let us make Trump and Bannon's a force that brings us together to stand for everything we love and to be united in our resolve for justice and fairness for all.
I'd like to invite our last speaker, Amanda from Latinos and Axión.
Hello, my name is Tello, and today I'm here representing Latinos in Axión, St. Louis. Y para decir que nosotros estamos juntos en esta lucha, that we are in this fight together, as we recognize the interconnectedness of all of our struggles. As both a
I have wept for my children and for their innocence, which could be so easily shattered should my husband be forced back to Mexico. DACA allowed us some breathing room. It allowed me to be assured that a burnt-out headlight would not result in my husband's detainment for weeks or months on end. We, however, hold our breaths once more as the possibility of DACA could be stripped from us. I hope you see the intersections between my story and your own. Perhaps you are a refugee who similarly fears the separation of your family due to this broken immigration system. A Black woman who not merely fears the detainment of her son for a burnt-out headlight, but his possible death at the hands of police. A child whose life is shattered when their sibling is murdered for being trans. To those of privilege who join us today, you will have to decenter yourselves in every space that you enter within our communities. You will have to understand the interconnectedness of our fight and show up not only for the lives of refugees and immigrants, but also for Black lives, queer lives, Indigenous lives, and all other oppressed peoples who tell you that privilege has cut them down. People of privilege, hear me when I say that you may not lead us, for we do not need leading, but you may walk alongside us and learn from us. We are strong people, and our ancestors have instilled in us a relentless fight. Fear will not hold us back from this resistance. Rather, fear has birthed the very strength and opposition to oppression that finds us here today. Find solace in that strength. We have a long road ahead of us in which neither a ban nor a wall can stop us from seeking security and better opportunities for our families and ourselves. But if our fight is not intersectional, if it is not inclusive, if our actions are not organized with the voices of the cut down, there will be no freedom for any of us. I leave you with this. Be unapologetic. Be unapologetically Muslim, Indigenous, brown, Black, gay, undocumented. Be unapologetic in that which they use against you. Be unapologetic because you owe no explanation for your existence.